there's not that much hype with this phone, while the Poco X3 and the Poco X3 Pro are both well received products. This is a sub $300 phone that doesn't have an AMOLED screen. Quite a hard sell, right? So why would one purchase the Poco X3 GT? Let's find out. So by the way, if you want to watch the unboxing video where we discuss the design and the hands-on experience with the Poco X3 GT, just click on the link here. So this has a 6.6 Full HD Plus dot display LCD screen with 240Hz touch sampling rate. This is probably the best LCD screen that I've ever tried, side by side with my S21 Ultra. It will give you vibrant, accurate colors, sharp details, great response time. I'm telling you, this time it's kind of hard to differentiate with my S21 Ultra, well, except for better viewing angles and slightly better blacks, and yeah, if you're gonna use it outdoors. It has an intelligent way of adjusting its refresh rate. So on your media consumption apps like YouTube and Netflix, you'll be getting 60, 50 till 48 Hz refresh rate, while 120 Hz with the rest of your apps. What it does is it dynamically lowers its refresh rate every time you stop scrolling or swiping on your screen, resulting to a buttery smooth UI navigation without sacrificing your battery. The screen is also protected with Gorilla Glass Victus, which can only be found on flagship devices. This also has L1 wideband certification, so you'll be streaming Netflix and Amazon Prime in high definition. Performance, so the software is your typical Poco MIUI over Android 11. I guess the memory extension feature stands out where it can allocate part of its storage to RAM. Yeah, nothing really to talk about here. The Game Turbo app does not really provide you with any performance tweak with its CPU and GPU, thinking that it is a GT model. Also, the new way to view your status bar or notification by swiping on your left and control center on the right will drive you nuts. I mean, come on, years and years of muscle memory. There's going to be a big learning curve here if you wanted to take advantage of that feature. Though this is the smoothest Poco X3 phone by far. The 120Hz screen and the Dimensity 1200 plus the 240Hz touch sampling rate is just an awesome combination. I don't feel any hiccups when opening apps or switching apps, navigating the UI, playing games. It's a proper flagship performing phone. Remember that back in the days, you would need to shell out $800 to $1,000 to get this kind of performance. Good job, Xiaomi or Poco. So game, alright, so what can the Dimensity 1100 really do to our video games? Here are the results. So this chip can run MOBA games like Mobile Legends, League of Legends Wild Rift, and Marvel Super Wars with really smooth frames without any stuttering or lags. Same with shooter games like Call of Duty Mobile. The average FPS are in the near 60s and 1% low is not that big of a gap. The big but though is with Genshin Impact. It just does not like the Dimensity chip, though it is playable, but yeah, frame rate drops and stuttering here and there. By the way, all games here were set to its max settings at high frame rate and 60 FPS. Also, I noticed the graphics seems to be more clearer or better. Like on Mobile Legends, your character, skill animation, man, it just pops on your screen. This LCD is really quite surprising. Let us actually check the other graphic settings of Genshin Impact. So highest we are getting 37, then on high at 41, and you can only start enjoying this game if you run it on medium settings. 55 FPS and 1% low of 43 is not bad. That's already a smooth experience, to be honest. Also, I noticed that disabling optimization on the Game Turbo app will really hurt your frames per second, so be sure to always enable that option. Now let's compare it with other phones, and these are set to the highest settings at 60 FPS. The Snapdragon phone, Poco F3 and Poco X3 Pro beats the Poco X3 GT. Realme GT, thinking that it has Snapdragon 888, can barely hit the 50 FPS mark, mainly due to thermal throttling issues. Black Shark 4 got solid scores here. Well, yeah, because that's a proper gaming phone. One good thing to point out here is that the X3 GT's thermals is just amazing. It could be the efficient chip plus the upgraded liquid cool technology. I actually played Genshin Impact till the battery drained, and on the 4 hours and 20-minute mark, the hottest temperature is only 41.9 degrees centigrade. So this has a 3-camera setup, a 64 megapixel main sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro lens. The main sensor will give you sharp images, crisp details, accurate colors with average dynamic range. Pro mode is awesome as well, where you can tweak almost all of the settings, though I was not able to find the zoom option. Portrait shots are pretty good, awesome background separation. You lose a little sharpness, but the photos you're going to be getting here is comparable to more expensive phones. The ultra wide does its purpose. However, the detail, sharpness are just not good. Even the colors are quite different comparing it with the main sensor. There's definitely a blue filter here, or maybe the white balance is not doing its job properly. Macro shots, I don't see the point where the main camera sensor can take better macro shots than the actual macro lens. Right. Alright, so video 1080p at 60 FPS. Is that really sharp? I am seeing some, I don't know if it's artifacts or noise like on daylight. And the smoothness of the camera when you pan is just average. Same with 4K at 30 FPS. Panning your camera here is just horrendous. Selfie video, we have 720p and 1080p at 30 FPS. No stabilization here, washed out colors. The selfie camera, or the front facing camera. I'm in the neighborhood and no one's really here, so I took off my mask. It should do fine for video calls, but not really for vlogging. Though the video looks quite fine when you view it on your phone. However, if you download it on your PC, then it's not gonna look good. And yeah, the photos are the only saving grace here on this phone. This has flagship level speakers, as what their websites say. This has way better speakers than my S21 Ultra. Dolby Atmos effect is remarkable here, plus you have almost asymmetrical stereo configuration. The good bass response just gives life to your music, awesome instrument separation, clear vocals, no distortion even on max volume, and Dolby Atmos. So what is Dolby Atmos? This actually started in theaters years ago, where they added, height speakers, or speakers that are literally on your ceiling that enabled object-based audio. So now you can hear objects moving around you like, literally helicopters flying over your head. Yeah, I have a similar setup at home. So they actually brought this home alongside with, mobile devices like tablets, laptops, and mobile phones. Charging. This has a 5000 milliamps battery, which can be fully charged using the 67 watt power brick. And based on my test, it took me 46 minutes to fully charge the device. The power brick will use the full 67 watt on the first, 10 minutes, and after which it'll go down to 50 and then 40 and then 30 up until the battery gets full. All right, so we have the Netflix drain test. As you can see here, compared to other models near its $300 price point, it actually performed quite well, thinking that it has an LCD screen. 13 hours is quite respectable for an LCD mobile phone. The Poco M3 Pro here, it's another Dimensity chip, but it got longer watch time due to the much lower powered SOC. The summary, is it really an upgrade? This will always be compared to the slightly more expensive AMOLED Poco F3. The X3 GT definitely has better speakers, faster charging times, better performance, better cameras, photos only, and there's no dimming issues. On video games, you can max out all of the games, well, except for Genshin Impact. Dimensity chips may not be that optimized for this game, and you need to lower it down to medium settings just to get an enjoyable frame rate. So, recommending LCD screens at the $300 price point is going to be a bit difficult because people tend to conclude that LCD is quite inferior to AMOLED screens. But with the time spent using this phone, this is the best LCD screen in town, and it doesn't have the hype that its older siblings had. But just ignore those. Just use the phone, and you'll definitely feel that this is money well spent. All right, that's it for now. I hope you find this video review useful. And if you wanted to see more contents like this, better click on the like button and the subscribe button. And make sure to click on the notification bell as well so that you get notified every time we upload a new video review here on YouTube. All right, Ian again. I'll be seeing you on the next one.